excuse me for a moment.
Recently, Donnie Swaggart came forward with a heartfelt update that many viewers had been waiting for. After a period of silence following the passing of his father, Jimmy Swaggart, Donnie finally addressed the public. His message wasn't just about ministry. It was about something deeply personal. His mother, Frances Swaggart. Speaking in a calm but emotional tone, Donnie revealed the situation regarding his mother's health and current state. While his voice remained steady, the gravity of what he said could be felt clearly. The update he shared has left many followers of the Swaggart family reflecting, praying, and offering support in large numbers. To understand this update, it's important to recall what recently happened in the Swaggart family. Jimmy Swaggart, the well-known televangelist and founder of the ministry, passed away peacefully at the age of 90. He was surrounded by loved ones and had lived a full life of faith, service, and leadership. His death left a large void, not just in the ministry, but in the hearts of millions around the world. Tributes poured in from across the globe. Sermons, teachings, and legacy were remembered with respect and sorrow. But behind all the public mourning, a family was going through something personal. For Donnie Swaggart, it wasn't just the passing of a public figure, it was the loss of his father. Since that loss, Donnie remained mostly silent. He did not immediately release many public statements or emotional updates. He focused inward, staying close to his mother and family. But now, weeks later, he has spoken. And his words were not filled with drama or exaggeration. They were real, grounded, and meant to inform the many people concerned about Frances Swaggart. Donnie said clearly that his message today was not a regular ministry update. It wasn't about preaching or programming. It was about something different. A son speaking about his mother. Donnie explained that many people had reached out, asking how Frances was doing. These were not just casual inquiries. They were heartfelt questions from people who had followed her journey for years. Donnie decided it was time to give them an honest answer. And so he began speaking about Frances's current condition. While he didn't go into medical specifics, what he shared was enough to let people know that things had changed. Frances Swaggart, now in her mid-80s, is facing health issues that have become more visible in recent months. According to Donnie, she is resting more than usual. She speaks less, avoids long conversations, and spends more time in quiet reflection. She is no longer as active in ministry operations or television programming. And while the family is not sharing every medical detail, they are being open about the fact that her health is fragile. Donnie made it clear that this is a time of close family care. The Swaggart family is prioritizing her comfort, her peace, her privacy. Frances Swaggart has been a strong and steady presence in the ministry for decades. While Jimmy Swaggart was the face of preaching, Frances was the backbone behind the scenes. She helped build and organize the ministry with patience, planning, and prayer. Many viewers knew her as the calm voice in panel discussions and a faithful presence by Jimmy's side. Over the years, she offered wisdom, encouragement, and grace, both on and off camera. Impact cannot be measured in numbers or shows, reflected in the lives she quietly touched through her faith, strength, and character. In his message, Donnie spoke not just as a pastor, but as a son. He reflected on what Frances meant to him growing up. He recalled moments of guidance, prayers she prayed for him, and the quiet strength she carried through life's trials. These were not emotional stories meant to draw tears. They were simple truths, a son honoring his mother while she is still here. Donnie made it clear that this is a sacred time for their family, a time of being present, not just for ministry, but for each other. The response to Donnie's update has been widespread. Thousands of people have shared messages, letters, and prayers. The Swaggart family is not just a name to many, they represent a spiritual home. For decades, Frances has spoken into people's lives without demanding attention or praise. Now, as she faces a quieter chapter of her life, that love is being returned to her in full. Donnie made it clear that the family feels this support. They read the letters, they hear the prayers, and they are grateful for each one. Donnie also shared how life has changed since Jimmy's passing. The house is quieter, the routine is different, and the pace of life is slowed down. The ministry continues, of course, led by Gabriel Swaggart and supported by Donnie, but the heart of the family has shifted inward. They are spending more time together. They are remembering, praying, and holding on to each other. Frances may no longer be leading programs, but her presence still matters deeply. She is still the matriarch, the foundation, and the prayerful figure at the center of the home. One thing Donnie repeated in his message was gratitude. He thanked everyone who has stood by the Swaggart family, not just in recent weeks but over the years. He acknowledged that this support is not taken for granted. Whether it's a short prayer, a kind letter, or a moment of silence, it all matters. Donnie asked for continued prayers, not just for strength, but for peace. Not just for healing, but for grace. Frances has given much of her life in service to others. Now in this season, she deserves comfort, love, and dignity. This message from Donnie was not dramatic. It was respectful. He did not ask for sympathy. He did not use emotional language to gain attention. Instead, he offered a real update, grounded in truth and shaped by faith. His words were those of a son who understands that time is precious. That presence matters more than performance. And that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be there. As viewers and followers, we can respect that. We can understand that the Swaggart family is walking through a season of reflection. The Frances Swaggart, who has supported millions in silence and strength, is now surrounded by love and rest. And that Donnie, carrying the weight of recent losses, is still finding the courage to speak, to thank, and to ask for prayer, not for fame, but for faith. The legacy of Frances Swaggart is not just in what she said on television. It's in how she lived, quietly, faithfully, without needing the spotlight. And now, as she steps back from public ministry, that same grace continues to speak loudly. It reminds us that behind every great preacher, there's often someone holding the foundation steady. Frances was that foundation. And today she continues to be, even in her silence. Donnie's closing words were short but powerful. He said the family is at peace. They are holding on to their faith, on to each other, and on to the memories that shaped them. He asked again for prayers, not for miracles, but for strength, not for answers, but for comfort. And he thanked every person who has loved his family through the years. As this season unfolds for the Swaggart family, one thing is clear: they are not walking alone. Viewers across the world are standing with them, in thoughts and prayers, and in quiet respect for a woman who gave everything and asked for nothing in return. Frances Swaggart may be resting now, but her faith, her love, and her example will never be forgotten.